you go around the front of the house, there's a smashed, like, freaking, there's a smashed car window. John's, like, getting the shit beat out of him on top of the car. Like, the other one's going at him and stuff. Someone's trying to pull him off. Some chick's screaming and, like... I loved it. Like, so there's this crew that I used to run. It wasn't quite a motorcycle stunt team. It was like Land of the Misfits, but we're gonna try to make this shit happen. So I got this whole crew together, and I was kind of like their like unassumptive leader or whatever, right? So I always made the plans for like what shows we were gonna go to and like all the kind of stuff we were gonna do. I'm gonna have to change the names of all these guys.
I'll change it for you.
So, there was one of the kids who we used to, this was only really a few years ago too. We used to party at his house. The house parties at his house were just, they were insane. They were insane. So there was...
Is his name Nathanielson?
No, but out of this crew, there was 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. It was a 5-person crew, right? So it was me and them 4. So one of them had this house that we used to like throw these parties at, and like you would get to the house and it was no holds barred. I don't know how the hell this all came together, but somehow he was given this house, and he paid rent. But it was a no holds barred, like, we're putting holes in the walls tonight while we're fucking going nuts. We're kicking the speakers over. Like, it was insanity. And
I'm imagining fire out of one window.
We would, not out of the window, but we would light stuff on fire. Yep.
Okay.
Yep. I have some footage from this house of, like, going there. And it's like, we would party there, I think it was, like, every Friday night. We would hit, Draft House, and it's so funny because I didn't even drink at the time, but we would hit Draft House, like all go riding and stuff. They all had to back their bikes in because they're all illegal. They're all like not even registered or whatever. So there's no.
Why would they be?
I don't. They all had fake plates. Like
that makes sense.
They would like. Sometimes they would like take the.
I'm just gonna take the plates off and take them with me, just in case.
They would have flipper plates, like because like one of them like was kind of legal, but it was like a flipper plate. You just like pop it up and like no one's gonna see it. You're not stopping for the cops anyway, right? So then you know they would like pop off a fake plate from like a total bike and just throw it out. Like it was just. Whatever. So we'd all back in to Draft House. I'm the only legally registered like vehicle. And then like we would all basically kind of party at Draft House and stuff and like just have a good time, shoot some pool, do this. Everybody's drunk, then we go drunk driving. Like this is what we're doing. And it's like
these are like the reasons why I don't drink. Everything that you're saying right now.
Then we go drunk driving. Like it's an activity.
Like, we're doing some activity.
Not a crime.
Let's go drunk driving. So here's the thing. Like I'm never... Listen. Let me get one thing straight about my stories. I'm not condoning the activities of which I'm going to get into on this show today, but I am saying this is what happened. Okay?
Past tense. This is all
past tense, right?
This is past Josh.
This is past Josh.
Future Josh.
This is... Who knows what happens? You know, there's no promises sometimes. But... So anyways, you know, we'd all like get all lit up and stuff, and we all go like ride and stuff. And like we had a really good thing going at one time. We had a really good thing going.
I could hear Terry's voice, and he said bye. I like that.
Yeah. So, and I'll tell you, this crew had legs. Like, we were funny. We had people filming. I would just hand people a camera and be like, yo, I'm going to go punch... Oh, I almost said his name. I'm going to punch John. I'll call him John. I'm going to punch John in the face. Just film this. Like, it was just... We were just all over... We were wild. It was all over the place and stuff. Like, stuff was always getting broken.
You can't stop laughing because I waved at him.
Stuff was always getting broken. Tires were always getting, like, burned off. Like, we would have, like, a dirt bike in the kitchen, right? And, like, doing, like, a burnout in the kitchen. What? Like, dude, it was awesome.
That's crazy.
So, dude, this is not the crazy part of the story. I'm just painting you a picture of the kinds of people I'm talking about that I'm hanging out with.
Yeah, aren't dirt bikes supposed to be on dirt and not in kitchens?
Oh my god, that's
like the whole.
That's exactly where they're supposed to be, because what? You gotta give something to like clean. So, anyways, I'm just trying to paint a scene. So, John, God, I just want to use their real names because it's so easier to keep track. But the point is that what's that?
Call this one Nathaniel.
Yeah, Nathaniel.
Well,
I feel like I gotta have a
was
cheat
the
sheet
real-
in front of me, like whose name was what. It's definitely not incriminating anything.
Well, you can call them all Nathaniel.
They were all Nathan. All of them were Nathan. So
We went from Nathanielson to Nathaniel to Nathan. Which one is it? That way I don't get confused.
So
Nathan.
we would all go out, and we had a great thing going, but it was always on the cusp of like, we're gonna get arrested tonight. We're gonna get arrested today. Like, it was always one of them's dealing drugs out of the back of the bike. So like, we would get to a place and like he would have arranged just for people to know that we were there. So he's like popping off the back of the bike and like divvying out fucking drugs and shit, and like, that's how he made his money. Another one's like stealing fucking pills from the pharmacy he works at and like peddling those on the side. Like me, I owned a business at this time. I was the like only like legitimate one in this like whole crew, and like it just it was insanity. And but the thing was, like, we had a really good thing going. We vibed really well. We had great times. Like, we did stuff. Like, the cool thing about this crew, it was the original One Life crew that I used to run. Mm-hmm. The cool thing about the One Life crew was that we were actually doing stuff. Yes, was there a lot of illegal activities? Sure. But we were actually doing stuff. We were actually living life to the fullest. Did I partake in the drugs? Nope. Wasn't me. Never was. I was never about drugs. Did I, was I speeding? Was I pulling wheelies on the highway? Was I doing all types of crazy shit like that? Were we lighting stuff on fire and fucking jumping over it and blowing stuff up and stuff? Sure. Yeah. Took part in all that stuff. But it's like, we would go like cliff jumping. We would go to the bars. We would go out and like, we'd be driving down the highway throwing things at each other like out of the cars. Like, I took a big thing of strawberries and like cracked eggs into the strawberries and like friggin' I forgot what else I threw into this like concoction. I like threw it onto his window while like the other guy was following me. Like, we'd have trucks and cars and bikes and stuff and like all this kind of stuff. And like, this is why I had no money, because I was fucking retarded. So
just squandering it.
Oh yeah, dude. And like, we'd get to wherever we were, and then like there'd be like a bottle of Powerade or something, and like, John would get out. Me and John were the closest. All right, I'll keep his name John. Me and him were the closest. Oh yeah, sure. You're John too. You're actually John. We were the closest kind of for a while until I realized John was an absolute psycho who either needs to be put down or put in jail. And he's still that way to this day. He actually just got out of prison, which is a great time for me to be making this video.
Yeah, so we may need to edit this out.
Not really. I'm not.
What's with the fucking we?
Anyways, so like he'd have like a bottle of Powerade, and like they'd pull up behind us. We're getting to where we're going to be, and like I just have the camera like kind of like chilling like this, and like he'd get there and just throw all the Powerade into their vehicle, like just all of like, dude, we were just trashing each other's stuff every day. I'm telling you, it could have been an MTV show, and I tried to turn it into that. I have so much footage from this time in my life, and I've never put any of it up because I'm like, I will never be able to have a profession.
Yeah, there's no career after that. You do that for the rest of your life. You're literally Johnny Knoxville.
Yeah, it's like Johnny Knoxville is going to be a cashier at a bank. That's where I'm going to be. So, anyways, I painted the picture. That's basically what it is. And of course, when we'd have the parties, there would always be a fucking fight. Like, the problem with that scene, and I still like the scene, I still like hang out with like people in that scene and stuff, but the problem with the scene is the amount of drama, the sheer amount of bullshit and lies and manipulation and issues with the cops and like lawyers and this, that, like the amount of shit that's going on. Like, you'd have a girl show up at the party with her boyfriend and start getting with one of the crew members. And then the boyfriend turns the corner. Like, that's not good. That's really bad, right? So you'd have that kinds of stuff going on. And then the problem was that the crew itself started infighting, right? Like, they started fucking going at each other and stuff. And, like, I'll never forget, one of them ran around the house. They're like, Josh, you need to get to the front of the house now. I'm like, I'm sitting back there, like, talking with somebody, like, just hanging out. I think it was, like, having a beer or whatever. Like, I got my feet up at the fire. And, like, there's people all around. I'm like,
Yeah, you're having a good time.
I'm like, why? He's like, dude, fucking... Again, I can't say their names. He's like, dude, Tom just put John's head through the fucking window. I'm like, what? Like, please? So, and it wasn't even what. It was like, again, like, it was literally that common for them to even be going at. You go around the front of the house, there's a smashed, like, freaking, there's a smashed car window. John's, like, getting the shit beat out of him on top of the car. Like, the other one's going at him and stuff. Someone's trying to pull him off. Some chick's screaming and, like... I loved it. I loved it.
Just drew to the flame.
It was just... And, like, that's the thing. It's like, I loved every minute of it because it was so interesting and it's so wild, and I think that's what people don't understand, because they're always like, why would anybody like this kind of like shit, like everything's da-da-da. No, it's interesting, and most people's lives are fucking boring. That's why it's interesting. So anyways, then a girl dies. Legit. What? Girl dies from a heroin overdose in the bedroom. Yep.
Wow.
That, like, I'm not saying the crew wasn't coming apart before that, because, like, as time went on, what had really happened was that the money ran out. It literally, like, we were paying to put gas in some of the guys' like bikes. Mm-hmm. So, like, we had the main crew, and then there were, like, kind of like stragglers that would kind of like show up and stuff. Like, I think the biggest we ever went riding with was like, I don't know, 20, 25 people or something like that.
It's a good amount of people.
Yeah, but we're putting money in, like, your gas tank because you're so broke because you ran out of pills to sell, and now you're strung out because you don't have your drugs and you're fighting with this person. Dude, the fucking house got raided at one point. I wasn't there that night, but the cops were following the kid and keeping tabs on him, who was doing the dealing out of the freaking motorcycle, and they raided the house. They raided that house. The one day there was nothing in there. Like, and see, that's where the fun goes away, because I don't have anything to do with the drugs. I had nothing to do with it.
Right.
I'm an advocate for basically being like, I make jokes like, oh yeah, you need some fucking, coke. Like, no, I'm an advocate for staying away from, like, all that kinds of stuff, but it's like, it's rampant in the scene. Like, I would have gone down just like everybody else in that house. And, and that's where that, like, the tearing is, because it's like, there's some people who are totally and utterly, like, by the book, right? And they live a super safe life. The problem is that the lives they live are not very exciting. Then you have the far, far, far extreme on the other side, where, like, you have, like, the wild, wild west going on, where, like, if somebody crosses that person, they will literally just kill them, like, their psychopathic status, right? So somewhere in between is, like, and I think I'm more towards, like, the conservative side, but, like, somewhere in between, like, I kind of, like, flutter around. So the issue with this was, like, I'm sitting there, I'm like, dude, like, I could have, like, gone down for a long fucking time. Like, if they had raided this house, and I was in the house, and all the shit that typically is stockpiled in the back room was here. And, anyways, so basically it was just wild. Like, we'd be going out there. When I say, like, lighting stuff on fire, I mean, it would just be, like, bonfires of random shit is just burning in the backyard of this house. We'd just be smashing bottles into the ground and then wrestling on the glass. Like, oh, it was...
What glass?
It was horrible. I have videos of...
glass?
Yeah! I have a video of me getting my eardrum blown out because my head got slammed so hard on the pavement while we were wrestling after I went through a table and there's glass all over the ground. I have a video of that.
Oh my god.
I literally, dude, I got my ass kicked. This is a horrible podcast. It's making it sound like I'm a bitch. But like,
so the table had the glass in it.
well, the table was being used for beer pong at one point, and then I got thrown through the table.
Okay.
But it was a friendly throw. I wasn't in a fight. We were just fucking around, and I got picked up and thrown through this table. Which that part is not
friendly.
Totally. Dude, I'm just being honest about what my life was. Like,
I'm just being real.
Yeah, just being a
He's my boy.
being real, bro. Yeah, no. So I was getting thrown all over. There's a stop sign at one point that like cut my side because we had a stop sign back there. There's like cones back there. There's motorcycles in the background. There's like guys, girls, whatever. Like there's like a speaker. Like the speaker. We were playing the music so loud. It's like 2 a.m. We're playing the music so loud. We would have these all night parties. I'm talking like all night where there's just somebody passed out on the steps and you're just stepping over them, going in and out of the house to like do whatever you're gonna do and come back out. Like those kind of parties. And it's like I love that wild lifestyle. I am so drawn to it because it's that ultimate like I don't give a fuck. Like we're gonna have a blast tonight.
Yeah.
Like when we will party hard, right?
Yeah.
You know. So the thing is that the crew was coming apart because everybody had big problems. Myself included, right? I'm trying to run a business and that's my lifestyle on the side. That works really well. That works really good. Yeah, okay. The thing was, I was trying to figure out a way to monetize this lifestyle because, in all honesty, people would watch that. So I was like, dude, like, we gotta film this, put up videos, get a following, we can make our own shirts, we can sustain through doing this, doing that. Like, I was looking at it like a business. I was like, you guys are just the right amount of fucked up. Like, we would have group meetings, and I would literally say this. Like, I'd be like, dude, we are just the right amount of fucked up. We're like, we could make something here. But then, you know, the problem is when you're dealing with those types, there's a lot of not.
You're the only one that'll look at it that way.
Yeah,
That's the issue.
And then once the infighting got bad enough, I mean, alright, so here's the thing. What really caused... You just waving at the camera randomly?
Every once in a while.
What really caused the whole thing to fall apart was this girl who was a part of the group, sort of. Like, she was kind of came around and stuff, but she was close to someone. She literally OD'd and died. Like, she died in... Not the bedroom at the house, like at her own house. She was in there for days. Nobody found her.
Oh my god.
It, like literally, her ex-husband or what? It was a whole messed up situation, but like found her and stuff, and like that devastated. What is that noise?
Yeah, I hear that too.
Is that? Anyways, so what ended up happening is like that devastated the crew. Devastated them. And it, like, the whole point is that none of them had their stuff together before that. And, like, I had my stuff together the most out of all of them, and I was barely hanging on. Right? Like, my personal life was so crazy, especially trying to, like, run a business during that time. So, this girl basically, she ODs, and some of the people in the crew were closer to her than others. And dude, it went downhill so fast from there. I'm talking like the drinking increased, the drugs increased, everything that was already dangerous enough started to just become seriously like to the point where somebody's gonna die. Mm-hmm. Somebody's actually gonna die on top of what happened. And it caused a lot of like this infighting with us because I'm trying to like lead them. Their tensions are through the roof with everything that's going on. And like we were trying to like book this show to go down to Virginia to actually ride in, right? I had this connection down in West Virginia. And we were gonna go and like ride in the show, and like none of them had any money. Everything had been spent on booze and fucking drugs and like all this kinds of stuff after this. And then they started taking out on me, being like, "Well, you're the reason that we don't have any fucking money." And like, da 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 da. I'm like, how am I the fucking reason you don't have money? Like,
yeah.
So it just deteriorated, and we started having some nights where like, you know, some of them would get so hammered they would no longer care about life, and then they would get on the bikes, and we would have to go chasing after. Like, this was a shit show by this time. We would have to go chasing after who had taken off in an attempt to shut off the bike if we could catch up to him and pull the key. So I like to consider myself a good rider. I'm not the best. There was no possible way I could keep up on 2 specific nights. The first night, John, you know Boston Post Road, Milford?
Yeah.
Okay, cool. You ever gone 180 miles an hour on it?
Can't say that I have.
Okay. Through red lights.
Yeah.
He wasn't stopping. He was pegged throttle, no brake light, through every single red light. I have no clue what the hell this John is supposed to do in his life, but I tell you right now, it's got to be something, because the amount of stuff he has gotten away with is insane. My bike, at max, goes 183.5 miles an hour, and then it blows apart and shoots hot oil all over my leg.
Speaking from experience?
Speaking from actual, I was there. The engine casing blows apart on the side, and oil shoots all over my leg at 183.5. So if you're curious, that's the max of the spike bike. So
183.5. Mm-hmm. Okay, good. And
yep. I was looking at the tag. I'm like, yeah. I'm like, holy shit! I'm like,
do we know the degree of how hot the actual oil is? Is
hot.
it also
It's fucking hot.
183.5?
It's really hot. So we take off one night. We're riding with him. He's kind of like okay, but see, he was always high on something, and like his problem was pills. It was always some form of fucking pills. He didn't give a shit. Like, I have not come across many people who actually truly scare me. This kid scared me. He scares me to this day. Like, to this day, the one who I keep referring to as John scares me. I have only met maybe 4 people in my life who were to the level of not giving a fuck that this kid was. So anyways, we're going down the Boston Post Road, and all of a sudden he just takes off. Just takes off. And he is slamming the throttle, fast as the bike can go. And I'm saying, he is lucky to, like, we lost him. We completely lost. There was no chance of us keeping up with him, unless we were going to die. Right. And we just watched this red light going, and the cars are going. And he just happened to just right through, like he wanted to die.
Yeah.
Like, I'm telling you, things were that bad. And then there was another one with one of the other guys having a night like that, and we were trying to chase him down and stuff, and like, I'm just sitting there in my head, like, I'm like, how did this get that bad? Because all it had started out at was, we're all hanging out, all right, this one deals a little bit of pot, okay, cool, yeah, whatever, it's cool, yeah, we throw some awesome parties, we're doing burnouts, like, we got bikes in the kitchen, like, shit like that, there's some girls here, there's some, like, whatever. So anyways, another night, one of the other ones is starting to ride like that too, and we're sitting, like, it was me, only one guy in that crew did I never have a problem with, and him and I are still friends to this day. We'll call him Tony. So me and Tony Matana. Me and Tony are like, we got to get this kid, but we can't keep up with him. Why can't we keep up with him? Because he's taking blind curves on the wrong side of the road.
Right.
Like if the road veers to the left, he's on the wrong side of the road, going into head-on coming traffic. It was just really bad. I don't understand how they didn't die, and actually he did crash. He crashed at 150 miles an hour. His bike split in half. Actually split in half. Like, if you look at a bike, you know the front, where the front tire is and the back tire is back here, right? So you have the engine compartment here, or the engine, whatever. The front tire, the shocks, the triple trees, and the whole front of the gas tank was sitting over here.
The bike blew up. Like, physically caught fire, blew up, the whole bit. He crashed into the back of a vehicle at 150-something miles an hour after leaving a bar, drunk, and blew his bike apart on the highway. He's still alive.
Did he go over the car? Or, like, how did that...
I was not there. I don't know what happened, but that's basically what it was. So anyways, just going back into, like, the scene and stuff. So this girl basically passes away, and then the infighting became horrible, and all the stuff just went way down, and they started fighting me because it was my fault. Like, not the girl, but like little things were setting them all off, and they were all just going at each other. Like, one of them, dude, like, I witnessed him fucking assaulting his girlfriend, like, in the parking lot. Like, we had to get the cops involved. Like, of all people to call the cops, we had to call the fucking cops. Like,
the last resort.
Don't put me on your level. I am not like you. I'm not gonna cut a body bag. Got a right tag. I'll be right back. Rip.